The cartels are making historically high profits right now. And this is a business. People think of cartels as thugs. Cartels are not, they are a highly sophisticated business, multi-billion-dollar a year business. They have better equipment, better everything than all of our agents do. They're shooting at our agents. They're selling people. They're taking the drugs. They're throwing children over here so they can run their drugs over here undetected and unseen.
Hi everyone, I'm Heather Hobbs with The New American. Today we have Christie Hutcherson with Women Fighting for America. Christie, could you introduce yourself a little bit and tell us about your wonderful organization and what you're doing?
Absolutely. First, thank you for having me on. I appreciate that. I'm Christie Hutcherson, the founder of Women Fighting for America. Women Fighting for America was created and birthed out of Judeo-Christian foundations of our country, and our goal is to expose the corruption that's been going on for so long across America, but also to educate, activate, and mobilize women and men all across this nation.
Absolutely. And so just so our audience knows, something that I'm extremely passionate about is human trafficking. And Christie and her team do a lot in that realm. We have a border crisis down in Texas and all across the border. And I would love to hear more about what you're doing to help protect our borders, but also to make sure people are following it the right way.
So to say we have a crisis is a mild statement. We have a national security crisis on our hands right now. And it's not just the southern borders that are open, it's the northern borders as well. Human trafficking is coming in both from the north and the south of the borders.
Which we only hear about the southern border.
Yeah, I call it the sexy border because that's where you get all of the graphic images. You know, it's the sensationalization of the news where they can have those talking points. But the northern border is just as open and just as flooding in with trafficking from a human perspective, but also from the drugs, terrorists, murders, rapists, things like that as well.
Yeah, I think that when President Trump was in office and he talked about they're not sending their best, that really, really struck me because I never thought about, the news tries to make you feel like these are all political refugees or all some kind of refugees from, these dangerous parts of the world, and they're just trying to get a better life. What have you experienced personally? What kind of things have you seen that really is the opposite of that narrative?
Well, first of all, the women and the children that you're seeing that are coming across the border, most of them, 99% of them, are either exploited or raped in some fashion on the way through the trail to get here. And the numbers are actually incorrect and they're lying to you in the public media. 68% of everybody who's coming over the border are single adult males. 68%. So the percentage that you're seeing with the women and children, in my personal opinion, that is what the drug cartel use as their decoy, so to speak. We have over 175 plus different nations. 175 plus different nations. 14 of those nations are from terrorist nations.
Yes.
They are sneaking them in by the thousands right now. We can't even keep up. Border Patrol, DPS, ICE, all of these organizations, they do not have the capacity to apprehend, detect, or even have the equipment necessary to do this. This is a serious issue.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but the Biden administration seems to keep cutting their funding or putting it in other programs, which seems to only further demoralize our self-sacrificing agents.
This administration, this regime, this evil regime, has 100% cut all of the funding across the board. They are actually funding, in my personal opinion, the cartel's power to come here. The cartels are making historically high profits right now. And this is a business. People think of cartels as thugs. Cartels are not, they are a highly sophisticated business, multi-billion-dollar a year business. They have better equipment, better everything than all of our agents do. They're shooting at our agents. They're selling people. They're taking the drugs. They're throwing children over here so they can run their drugs over here undetected and unseen.
When I was with Tom Homan at the event most recently, he was explaining that we've had this massive rise in the number of agents dying just in this year alone. And he said he's never seen anything like it before. Is that also something that you've been experiencing and witnessing, is the loss of lives?
Yes, not only the loss of lives within our agencies, suicide rate is up with them because of what they're having to deal with. But right now on the Texas border, let's just talk about Texas because we're in Texas. On the Texas border right now, the cartels are slitting people's throats. They're hanging people from trees and burning them. And you would think, oh, that's in Mexico. No, my friends, it's here in the United States on the soil. The sheriffs are telling ranchers, please don't call us anymore to come pick up the dead bodies because we can't afford to bury them anymore. You're not hearing any of this in the news.
No. And that was something I was actually just about to bring up, is that I know that there are some counties that have, they will dump the bodies on our side of the border. And then our policies make it to where they have to try to identify them, they have to store them, and then eventually bury them. And that can cost anywhere from 15 to 30 grand per body.
That's correct.
And that is just bankrupting these counties. And these counties are smaller counties.
That's correct.
So that is just another big issue that, again, is not in the mainstream news. It is not being reported. So I'm really grateful that you came here today to share it with the New American, and I'm really grateful that you're fighting. How can people learn more about your organization and get more involved and fight this crisis?
We are standing at a pivotal point in history right now. And it's easy to ignore this, thinking that it doesn't come to my city. I'm okay. I've got my job, my life. Things are not normal, but they're calm. I'm here to tell you the storm is just beginning if you don't get involved to save this nation. A national security at the border crisis with open borders, you do not have a sovereign nation. They are going to take your vote. They are going to steal your children's voice. They are going to put drugs into your communities. They are going to sell your children into slavery. That's what's here, and it's coming on steroids. You need to get into the fight now. I have a 13-point plan that you can do practically every single American citizen can do to help take back this nation. And if you text the word fight to 91776, that's 91776, the word fight, you will get an email from us. You'll be prompted to sign up and get involved. You can volunteer your time, talents, your treasures, or you can just sit back on your sofa but enact these 13-point plans. Every week you'll get 2 things that you can do to help facilitate the sovereignty and saving our republic.
Absolutely. And Christie, do you also have a website?
I do. You can go to WFFA.win because we're going to win the battle. WFFA.win.
As someone who's a believer, I always tell people that we already know who wins in the end. God has already told us who wins. The biggest thing that we need to remember is we are going to be held accountable. We have a personal responsibility. We have a republic if we can keep it. So thank you again for joining us. I'm Heather Hobbs with The New American. Check out thenewamerican.com for more. We look forward to having you again.
Thank you, Heather. God bless you and God bless the United States.